Steve, are we live?
We are live.
We are live. And we have a special guest here. Hang on, Forbes, come over here.
Can I just say hi, Pippi?
Yeah, just come here. Put the headphones on. You can come on screen. Talk to him.
Hi, Pippi.
Hello, Forbes. How you doing? Where are you right now?
In Mimi, my room.
In your room. Is Mimir using your room for recording?
Yeah.
You left a hot game to come talk to us, right? Is Lily waiting for you? What are you playing?
Minecraft.
Ooh, a pretty mean game of Minecraft. You building things?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
at night, there's gonna be a zombie fight.
A zombie fight?
Okay.
Cool.
All right, I'll let you go. Say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Forbio.
Well, Santa's not come in, but Dodger was at the door, so...
Uh-oh.
Oh, she's coming to yours, Steve. Okay, this is good for the audience. Oh, Santa was waving at you. Hi.
Can you see there, Sienna?
Can you give her the head? Oh, I guess she can't have
Yeah,
your
I can't do
headphones.
that. Yeah.
Hi. All righty. Well, that's enough anarchy.
All right.
Okay, Sienna.
Where do you
Good job.
do
She
that?
made her
Hi,
appearance.
everyone.
Hi, Lindsay, the daughter.
All right, bye-bye. Happy
Okay.
screaming, Sienna.
We ready
All
for a
right.
show?
Yeah, there's the screaming we were hoping for. All right. Well, thank you for indulging all of us. You know, we do like that. I am going to do some... oh, I didn't see that. Hello, Forbes, from Jason. That's great. I love it. And we had a roll call from Jason. So we have Seamus and Sheriff and Kevin and Jason and Frank and Mike, Jill, Lindsay, the daughter, along with the darling children, and Mr. Ed. We got Sandy and Steve. Anybody in the sidebar I should say hey to?
Well, Rose was here earlier. I think she is still here, so she may just not be listening.
Oh, okay. Hi, Rose. I think she listens on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes, yep. Oh, and Waylon.
Waylon.
Is Waylon one of the dogs, Seamus?
Oh, and okay, now I have to remember two dogs' names.
Sheriff and Waylon.
Oh, I thought Waylon had moved on after the graduation ceremony. He's staying with you. Did not know that. And
Choo Choo.
And Shoo.
Oh, Shoo Shoo, not Choo Choo.
Right. All right. I think it's time to start, Steve.
Yeah.
All righty. I am gonna go if you're ready to go, Steve.
I think so.
Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan with the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, June 11th, 2023, and this is show number 944. Well, hey, this weekend we're at our daughter Lindsay's house, but next weekend we're going to be going to Houston to visit our son Kyle and his family, including our other two darling grandchildren. Since we're flying, we are way too lazy to carry two microphones, two mic interfaces, two lights, and a giant pile of cables on the plane. That means we are not going to have a live show on June 18th. Now, as it turns out, Sandy wasn't going to be able to be there anyway, so really, what was the point? I know this will be devastating to many of you, but I hope you'll try to soldier on. All right, back to the old days. I may have soiled myself.
Kevin and I noticed the music was a bit loud. I don't know if that'll be a
Okay.
problem in the recording, but
It will be if you heard it. Let me go back and listen. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan. It's a little loud. Not too loud, but if it's bothering Kevin. Into the NosillaCast podcast. Yeah, I guess so. I have my output volume low because... to podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever... It's from the top. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan. Okay. Just for Kevin. All righty. But now I am hearing... Yeah, I gotta turn that down. I hear hiss on the audio. Hey, do you like our cameras? Because we're both using continuity camera for the first time. Anybody notice how amazing we look?
so I guess this is not the camera that does the focus. What do they call that? Studio
Oh.
effect.
Yeah.
That's the
we're using-
iPad.
Yeah. What is that called? Center stage.
Center stage.
Center stage? Center stage manager. Right.
Center stage manager. Let's just combine them all into one word, one grouping.
It's easier that way. All right, here we go. Now, you know I'm a well-established VR skeptic, and my overall opinion on VR is not much changed, but what Apple showed us last week with the Vision Pro is something I had not envisioned. To be fair, nobody else predicted what they'd come out with. Tom Barrett has been on the front lines for my VR skepticism over the years, so he asked me to come on the Daily Tech News Show to talk about Vision Pro. It's episode 4535, and of course, there's a link in the show notes to the episode. I don't like it. Come on. Okay, you're just ignoring me. Did not want to stop on my... Normally it stops when I hit the space bar, and it wasn't stopping. All right. It would be really good if you tell me, live audience, if you see me recording and you don't see red on Hindenburg, because it's out of my line of vision because of the size of the screens I'm working with, so it's over here and I might not notice.
So the
yes.
red being on the sidebar to show it's not muted.
No, the
the recording
waveform,
the
is
audio
red when
Got
I'm
it.
recording.
What does it mean if it's not red?
It means it's not moving. I'm not recording.
Oh no, nothing at all.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
So yeah.
Were you not recording?
No, I was. I'm just saying. I need to hit it and start looking this way immediately. And if I do,
I got you. We will keep an eye open for that.
Yeah. If I do it and you don't see red, then that means
So I'll hold this view until I switch back to Discord for a moment to verify we see the recording.
Yeah.
Because normally I'm here. So.
Okay. I don't know what here means. I don't have enough screen to have.
Oh, you're not seeing. Okay.
No,
Discord versus. I can only show Discord or Hindenburg.
Okay. I can't see Discord, or I can't see.
Yeah. We'll take care of it.
That's what I'm looking at. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like right now, I'm going to hit Command R, and hopefully it will start to record. This week, our guest on Chit Chat Across the Pond is Bart Busschots, but it is not a Programming by Stealth episode. It's a Chit Chat Across the Pond light. You know, at least within my personal definition of light. Bart joined the show this week to talk about what else? Vision OS, the new operating system that will power the Vision Pro headset that Apple announced at the Worldwide Developers Conference. We talked about how we can see the future now in spatial computing as a big shift. Now, we don't talk about the hardware at all, and we don't talk about the price at all. We're talking about Vision OS itself, this spatial computing. So Bart tells us about what he learned about Vision OS from the platform State of the Union, as well as 2 sessions he watched, Principles of Spatial Design and Design for Spatial Input. He also gave us links to the chapterized videos so you can jump right to the parts he talked about if you like. Of course, those are in the show notes. As a bonus, my granddaughter Sienna made her debut appearance on Chit Chat Across the Pond. She's an old hand at coming on the live show, but this was her first appearance on Chit Chat Across the Pond. It was a bit of a surprise, and she didn't stay very long, but she did want to say hi. I made it a chapter mark just for fun. And again, you can get links to all of the different videos that Bart talks about in the show notes, and you can look for Chit Chat Across the Pond Light in your podcatcher of choice.
Well, I see a lot of red.
You shouldn't now.
I saw a lot of red.
There you go. Good. All right.
This is going to be a long one. Oh, but it's recorded, pre-recorded.
What is?
Oh, this isn't that long. I'm thinking in a Portal.
Portal. No, Portal is... this is Alistair.
Alistair. Mr. Golden Voice.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I thought of something I should have put in. Where's Jill?
She's in the she's here. At least she's in the sidebar. I haven't seen her
here.
chatting much, but no, now she's typing.
Okay, good. Oh, I didn't get that right. There you are.
Hello, Jill.
I don't think you were here for a roll call, were you? copy link.
I was. Okay.
I'm just not paying attention to what
Did
I
we
even
say,
said.
did Allison say your name, Jill?
Oh, and Ian Lessing is in.
Hello, Ian.
All right.
Had some dock issues. Okay. Say no more.
Oh. Okay, now I gotta find the finder.
Yeah, you
and
poofed.
You know what, I should have. I would like to plug. Sorry, can't do two things at once. Alistair on Portal is right here. I want to plug Chuck Joyner's Road to Maxstock.
Any particular appearance? An interview he did with anyone or with you?
He had, he had Jill on, so that's
Oh,
why I
oh.
wanted everybody to go look at for it. But I'm also remembering something else. What is it berryfolk.com? Lets you get to the road to the Midwest Mac Barbecue. He wanted me to plug the Midwest Mac Barbecue too. Oh, shoot.
Safari can't find that. Why is that?
Berryfolk.com.
Why
It's a
cannot?
redirect.
Oh, because it's probably not secure.
Okay, Safari went to it for me.
Didn't go for why?
Okay. I don't have time to fix
That's
your
all right.
computer stuff, Steve. Hang on.
You
In your
don't need to.
podcatcher of choice.
Recently, there has been a groundswell of ambient noise applications. These are intended to provide a background level of...
But that's funny. Alistair's coming on to talk about an app that calms you. I just listen to his voice. All right. Come back to the Midwest Mac Barbecue thing. All right, it's time to listen to the very calming voice of Alistair Jenks. Mr. Jenks.
Recently, there has been a...
Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to, on the fly, do two things. Two things. Shoot, I don't like doing this on the fly, but I'm going to interrupt our flow. So somebody remind me to work on these links after. And let's see, Chuck Joyner, Road to Maxstock. What is it? Mac Voices, right? But it doesn't always calm his wife. Here we go. Okay. All right, let's see how good I can do this. Okay.
Hold up, Al. You just went Cylon.
Okay.
What did you do last time? Say again.
That.
All right, we're good.
Let me make sure audio hijack is right. I'm wondering whether I should drag along my real real interface and not use the Shure MVI because I don't ever hear that at home.
Are you going
this
through the hub for the audio?
Yes, I have to go through the hub. I have no choice.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's doing
I have
something.
no choice.
I know.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay, I'm going to do a chapter mark here. Midwest. Okay, I got to put those chapter marks in. Just do it right now. https://berryfolk.com. Oh, it's Midwest Mac Barbecue. All right. We are getting really close to MacStock, and I want to make sure everybody who signed up for MacStock realizes that there is a Midwest Mac barbecue and wine tasting event being put on by none other than the lovely Barry Falk. If you would like to attend, it's extremely easy to do. Go to barryfalk.com. That's Barry, Barry, Fulk.com, and all the information you need to find out about the Midwest Mac barbecue is on that link. It's the day before we start MacStock, and I don't have the date at hand, unfortunately, because I forgot. Stupid way to do it. What is the date? Anybody got the date? The date. Okay, I can't even see the date. Archives, ask me anything. Fill out the form. Nope, I'm just gonna not say that. It's the day before.
So we arrived the 20th, but I think is it the 21st?
It's the day we were arrived.
July? It's the day we were, so that's the July 20th.
July 20th. Okay. It's actually scheduled for the day before MacStock starts, so it's on July 20th. Again, go to barryfalk.com to learn everything about it. Okay. On that link. It's actually scheduled for the day. Okay. Let's see more. This is Jill. Okay, I'm getting this link going. All right. I have to fix the show notes, though. Somebody remind me to fix the show notes when I'm done. All right. Here we go. Nope. Come on. Speaking of MacStock, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm actually going to plug Chuck Joyner's show, Mac Voices. The reason I'm going to do it is because the lovely Jill from the Northwoods, who you've gotten to know as a stalwart NosillaCastaway with all of her great contributions to the show, she is his guest on his Road to MacStock series. So Jill gets in there and starts talking about what she's going to be talking about at MacStock. And it's a great way to learn about her background. You don't get, obviously, everything that you're going to learn if you go to MacStock, but I think it's a fun listen because you're going to learn about how she moved from the PC to the Mac and why she moved from the PC to the Mac. That was kind of my favorite part. Now, that's not right. My favorite part was when she told Chuck that she was on Team Allison. So if you know anything about our fun little rivalry, you'll get a big kick out of it. If you go to the link in the show notes to macvoices.com, you can watch it in video there, and you can see him put his head down on the table when she tells him that she's on Team Allison. Anyway, go check it out. And of course, if you haven't signed up for MacStock, sign up for MacStock. It's the best thing ever.
I got to see the head.
Oh,
the head
so
on the desk.
Funny. I mean, he just. I loved it. That was the best thing ever. All right. So I do still have to fix the show notes, but I've got the links in here correctly. And now I'm going to actually do a long recording. My voice is gravelly today.
Well, no Cylon right now.
Well, you know what I don't know is what the recording would sound like if I was Cylon to you.
I suspect it would.
I am monitoring my voice, but I don't hear any lag, so I don't think I'm doing it right. We need shirts. Yeah, Team Allison.
Jerseys.
You know, Rose made shirts for the NosillaCastaways party 100 years ago up in San Francisco, and there were, I forget, what did they say on them, Rose?
Yeah, it was definitely referring to the wearer, I believe. Like, I'm on the team, or I'm a NosillaCastaway.
I know mine said, and I'm Allison.
Oh,
so I
right.
think everybody else's was the beginning of a sentence, and mine was the end of it. All right. This is going to be long. Here we go. All right. Team Allison. There we go. Okay. Nope. See, it didn't start. Why didn't it start? Okay, I'll push the button. Last week, Steve and I went to visit his parents who live about 4 hours away. His parents are fantastic about always staying up to date on their apps and doing all of the security patches on their own because, stay patched so you stay secure. But when it comes to major macOS upgrades, we like to be there to do it for them. We had actually forgotten that we hadn't yet given them macOS Ventura, so when I glanced at Steve's father Ken's computer and noticed the classic macOS Monterey background, I realized we had some work to do. I plopped down in his chair, went to Software Update, and it said he was already up to date. Well, Ken and Merle have had their Mac Minis for a while, so I figured maybe they weren't eligible to get macOS Ventura. I looked up their model in Mac Tracker and discovered that their Macs were from 2014. Now, this is a testament to Apple that these 9-year-old Macs were still happily humming away on a fully supported operating system. However, these Mac Minis have 5,400 RPM spinning hard drives that have been spinning for 9 long years. At this point, you got to ask yourself, do you feel lucky? Now, if we lived around the corner where we could race over and help if one of their Macs died, we would have let them keep on spinning. But since we're 4 hours away, we can't just jump in the car and make that kind of trip easily. We explained the situation to his parents and suggested that we probably needed to buy them new computers. Well, with their money, but we needed to go buy them. To our delight, both of them immediately said, "All right, let's do it." They have a great appreciation for the fact that the two of us have skills that others around them do not. Their trust in our advice and those skills makes things a lot easier than if we had to sell them on the idea. Now, a lot of people share computers, and while technically they could have if one had failed, I don't think there would have been peace and harmony in their home until we could get up there to help. Well, I figured they didn't need anything top of the line, so I started looking for M1 Mac Minis in the refurb store at Apple. I quickly determined that we wouldn't be able to get anything in refurb same day, and same day was the only way this would work since we were actually leaving on the following day. We literally had just a few hours to figure out what to buy the equipment, and completely set up these computers. We looked at their current storage usage on their existing Macs, and Merle was using around 100 gigabytes, while Ken was using only 50 gigabytes. That was great news because it meant we could buy them the stock M2 Mac Minis with 256 gig SSDs and 8 gigs of RAM. This model was available for pickup at an Apple store just 10 minutes from their house. Now, I know Bart is shaking his fist at Apple for not having any Apple stores at all in all of Ireland, so we do appreciate that we have so many of them. Now, Steve had an idea for an improvement for his dad. Ken has neuropathy, which has destroyed all of the sensation in his fingers. Coupling that with a slight tremor, typing is an arduous process for him. Because he cares deeply about security, his login password for his Mac and his login for his 1Password account are both very long and very secure. With his trouble typing, it's a very long process for Ken to enter these passwords. Now, he doesn't complain about this at all, but Steve thought, why don't we make this easier for him? Steve told Ken that for a Father's Day present, he'd buy him a Touch ID keyboard. Ken's current keyboard was a 9-year-old full-size keyboard, so we spent some time with him testing to see if he actually used the 9 keypad for numbers or maybe the delete key, and he did not. That told us we could go with the smaller, slightly less expensive Touch ID keyboard from Apple. Our shopping list so far was 2 Mac Minis and the Touch ID keyboard. Now, the new Mac Minis have 2 Thunderbolt USB-C ports and 2 USB-A ports, plus an HDMI port. While Ken could have used the Touch ID keyboard wirelessly, we knew it would drive him bananas if he had to suddenly charge it. So rather than having him worry about charging a battery, we decided to make this an always charging wired keyboard. We bought a 2-meter USB-C to Lightning cable that would reach all the way under the desk and into his keyboard tray to be permanently plugged in. Now, I didn't think about it ahead of time, but the Touch ID keyboard does come with a nice braided USB-C to Lightning cable, so I didn't necessarily have to buy that one, but when we saw it, it would not have been long enough. We harvested that little cable to take home. I'm sure some of you are sitting there grinning, waiting to hear me talk about how many dongles we had to buy to make their system functional. You'll grin even more when I tell you that their displays were from around 2008, at least Merle's was. I think Ken's is a little bit younger. We were going to need to be connecting 2023 Macs to 15-year-old displays. Now, Ken's display was connected over DisplayPort using Mini DisplayPort on the Mac Mini and full-size DisplayPort on the display. I started hunting on Apple's website for a solution like maybe an adapter with male HDMI on one end and female Mini DisplayPort on the other, but that wasn't going to be an option. Fairly quickly, I abandoned Apple altogether as there was a Best Buy around the corner with a much better catalog of available cables. Further investigation, accomplished by taking photos upside down from underneath the Dell displays, revealed that both of their displays also had VGA and DVI connectors. By the way, how much do you hate trying to look underneath a Dell display? I hate it with a fiery passion. Anyway, for $7.03 a piece at Best Buy, we were able to buy HDMI to DVI cables for them so we could connect these ancient displays to their brand new computers. I got to tell you, that was a big hurdle. It took probably 45 minutes to unscramble with us taking photos and drawing pictures and scribbling notes. It was a big mess, but we finally got it unscrambled. Now, Marlee's setup for USB on her old Mac was pretty straightforward. In the back of her Mac Mini, using her 4 USB-A ports were a printer, Time Machine backup drive, a Logitech C920 webcam, and a keyboard. In addition, she has a Logitech mouse transmitter dongle plugged into the USB-A port on the side of her full-size keyboard. Unlike Ken, Marlee is a heavy user of the number keypad on her keyboard because she was an accountant for her career. She doesn't have any problems typing quickly and accurately, and she never got Touch ID to work on her iPad because her fingers are unusually dry, so we decided to just let her keyboard stay. And that was good because it meant we could keep the mouse transmitter plugged into the keyboard as well. That meant for Marlee, we only needed 2 USB-C to USB-A dongles, and she was all set with her new computer. Let's go back to Ken's Mac, though, where things got a little bit more complicated. Like Marlee, he had a printer, a webcam, and his keyboard plugged in via USB-A, but unlike Marlee, he has a wired USB mouse, and he has no backup drive. Now, before you jump all over Ken for not backing up, he has his own process. He has a thumb drive that he keeps in a very secure place, and he plugs it in at regular intervals and does a manual backup. Now remember, he's only using 50 gigabytes of disk space total, including his operating system. So his process all along has been to plug the thumb drive into the USB-A port on the side of his full-sized Apple keyboard, and then he simply drags the 2 folders he backs up onto the thumb drive icon and says yes when it asks to replace the files. This works for him, and he is especially rigorous, so I know it's a good process. But remember, we're going to be removing his full-size keyboard and replacing it with the modern Touch ID keyboard, which does not have a USB-A port on the side. That means we will be 1 port short. At Best Buy, we found a 4-port USB-C hub for $32 that we could pick up that day. This would give us more than enough USB-A ports for his needs. But one thing we weren't willing to put him through was having to reach around and over his display to the back of his Mac Mini to stick his thumb drive into the 4-port USB hub. You can imagine how challenging that would be. In our photo taken under and around the display, we discovered that his display also has 2 USB-A ports underneath and 1 on the side. 2 on the side. So he's got 2 underneath and 2 on the side. We figured that the ones underneath must be so that you can plug in the display to the computer and then use the ones on the side for data transfer. This meant we needed 1 more cable, and an unusual one at that. We needed a male-to-male USB-A cable to allow the display to act as a USB hub for Ken. Luckily, and I'm putting that in air quotes, Best Buy had one available for pickup for the exorbitant price of $33. I guess it's an unusual plug, or an unusual cable, I should say, so that might explain it. At this point, we had our bill of materials finally figured out, or so we thought. So Marlee and I had a little play date at the Apple store while Steve went to Best Buy for the cables. When we got back from our shopping, my mouth was getting dry anyway, so I'm going to take a little pause here. So Marlee and I had I started thinking, if I start siloning and I've recorded that long, I won't want to have that broken. Save. All right. Nice cough, Sienna. All right. Poor thing. When we got back from our shopping spree, it was time for Ken to participate in a Wii bowling tournament. So obviously we dropped everything to go watch this highly competitive sport. In all seriousness, it was super fun to watch, and Ken's team is really good. After our sports break, Steve and I got to work. We took very different approaches to setting up the new Macs. I was able to pretty easily pop in the new Mac and connect all the dongles and all of her peripherals. As soon as the Mac Mini booted up, it It wanted to do an OS upgrade, which was pretty annoying, but I figured it was best to just let it finish. Since Merle had a time machine backup and she doesn't have much cruft at all, I figured the fastest, easiest, and most complete way to get her system just the way she liked it was to use Migration Assistant to set up her new Mac. While it was easy and complete, fast would not be how I would describe it. After close to 2 hours, it was still fixing to make a plan to start moving the data. It was still saying, preparing to transfer user documents. It's after 2 hours. Remember, she's got 100 gigabytes, including the operating system and applications. Well, I sent a screenshot of this fixing to make a plan screen to the Podfeet Slack asking, is this normal? Because, I never use Migration Assistant. Well, I was waiting for a response and I thought, I'll call Pat Dengler to find out if this is normal, but sadly, she wasn't available either. Finally, I decided enough was enough and I was going to start over and do it by hand. I marched back into Merle's den and it had finally started to transfer the data. It told me it was going to take 40 hours, so that was nice. After a while, it said 9, and then 6, and then 2. In the end, it took over 4 hours to transfer less than 100 gigabytes of data from her vintage backup drive to her snazzy new Mac. I bet I could have typed in all the files faster than that. Anyway, while I was cooling my heels impatiently waiting for Merle's time machine backup to migrate, Steve simply booted up Ken's new Mac, let it do the software update, and then dragged Ken's files to the desktop. I think his entire process was around 20 minutes, and I totally should have done that. Anyway, on Ken's machine, we plugged in all of the dongles, including the USB-C hub, and his printer, camera, and new keyboard. Steve spent some time teaching him to use the Touch ID, and he learned something interesting. The Touch ID sensor is in the far upper right of the keyboard. But with his limited hand control, it was nearly impossible for him to hold his hand properly to touch the sensor without hitting a bunch of other keys at the same time. Finally, Ken suggested, why don't we try my left hand since I'm left-handed? And he found he was able to rest his wrist on the table and activate Touch ID nearly 50% of the time. But he reported back the day after we returned home that he'd found the sweet spot of holding his forefinger flat, and now it's working very well. I gotta say, I hope I'm as patient and forward-thinking at trying new things as he is when I'm in my 80s. After that, it was time to get his backup thumb drive working with the new Mac. As you may recall, about an hour ago when I started this story, he used to plug it into the USB port on his keyboard, but the new one doesn't have a USB port. Our plan was to use the display as a USB hub. We plugged the stupid expensive male-to-male USB cable from the Mac to the display and then plugged his thumb drive into the side of the display. It didn't work. Well, there's 2 USB ports on the side and 2 underneath, and we tried all of the combinations and it still didn't work. We changed USB ports on the Mac too, ensuring it wasn't going through a dongle, but it was no good. This project was certainly flexing every cable and connector muscle of our brains. We then got the idea that if we could buy a USB-A to female USB-A cable, we could hang it out from under his display for easy access to plug in the thumb drive. Apple didn't have one for sale, and the one at Best Buy would have taken a few days, but Target had a 6-foot USB extension cable for $11. Sold. So, at this point in the story, Steve was on his way over to Target when I realized something. Remember I said Ken's original keyboard had been connected by a USB extension cable before we unplugged it. In other words, we already had a USB-A male to female cable. I called Steve right away and he suggested, why don't you test it before he turned around and came back? Well, for the life of us, neither Ken nor I could get that thumb drive into the female USB connector on the extension. Finally, I peered inside the female USB connector and I noticed it was keyed, meaning it had a dent into the rectangle that was stopping a normal USB-A connector from going into it. Like USB-A isn't annoying enough. Why would you have a keyed one? I pulled out the old keyboard and sure enough, its USB-A male connector had a slot in the top, which allowed it to slide in. I have a very vague memory of seeing this kind of cable a very long time ago, but I just couldn't
Al,
believe it.
you just went silent.
Okay. I have a very vague memory of seeing this kind of cable a very long time ago, but I just couldn't believe it. It's like,
Go back to the beginning of that phrase.
stop.
Okay.
Okay, I'm doing a little test right now, listening on Hindenburg. Okay, I'm doing a little test right now. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with my mic from this side.
Okay, so it's what we're hearing on the stream.
I have a very vague memory of seeing this kind of cable a very long time ago, but I just couldn't believe it. It's like,
So that's Cylon, but I guess you don't have to. Okay.
wait, that's sidelining when I'm playing that back?
Yes. Yes, because it's the stream. We're hearing the playback streamed. You're still Cyloning, so that hasn't been fixed.
Okay, I'm using my internal microphone for a second. Is that better?
No Cylon there that I can hear.
Okay.
How about Discord? I mean, there's echo, but it's no Cylon.
I'm just saying, is it sidelining? So now I'm going to
No.
switch it back. Okay, how about now?
That's good.
Okay, so toggling StreamYard. Now that we know that it's not coming out on the recording, that's why I was thinking
Yeah.
it just needed to switch mics.
Yeah. That should do it.
That's a
I
nice
think we're,
feature.
yeah.
Okay. Back to this. Oh, I should save. I have a very vague memory of having seen a cable like this, but it was such a long time ago. I just don't know why anyone would be that mean to us. Like I said, we thought USB was mean before. Anyway, Steve came back with a new extension cable, and Ken's thumb drive fit right in. Well, it's something for him to get used to, having this cable just kind of hanging out on his desk. I think it'll be easier for him to lift up the cable off the desk to connect the thumb drive than it probably was to look into the side of a keyboard. We probably need to check that with him, see how that's going. Now, after I got home from this trip, I was studying the photo of the underside of Ken's display, and I noticed something I'd missed while we were there. In addition to the two USB-A ports, I realized there was also a USB-B port. That's the kind that you see on printers. The kind of cable goes into it. It's called a device cable. Now, I haven't been able to prove out this theory, but I bet if we'd plugged a USB-B device cable into the display from the Mac, all four of those USB-A ports would have worked. I may just throw a device cable into my bag at Christmas just to answer that question. Now, the software story was a lot easier than the hardware story, but Microsoft went out of its way to make it hard for us. Ken and Merle, like many of us, finally gave into the subscription model for Microsoft 365, which meant it was the one app that didn't migrate even for Merle. We had to download the installer on each Mac from scratch and log into their account. By default, Microsoft insists on installing every single application and service they have ever invented. Ken and Merle have never used PowerPoint, which makes me very happy. I liked it when Ken goes, "What's that? I don't even know what that is." Anyway, they don't want Outlook. They don't even know what OneNote is. And they don't want anything ever in the cloud, except iCloud Photos, of course. So they don't want OneDrive. They want Word and Excel, and that's it. Now, I've done a few thousand more software installs than Steve, so when I was installing Word and Excel for Merle, I knew to stop on the installation step of the installer and select Customize to eliminate all of those other silly apps. Steve didn't catch it, so we had a bit of cleanup to delete those other apps that Ken didn't need. Now, after the installation, Steve had his dad exercise the Excel the way he does every day to make sure things were working properly. A bit later, when we were trying to get Ken's thumb drive working, Ken tried to interrupt us to ask a question about Excel. We were very impatient with him. We told him, "We're busy working on this thumb drive. We can't take the time to listen to you." And we made him wait. Finally, we let him tell us what was wrong, and it turned out to be way more important than the thumb drive. He said he'd created a file in Excel. It was called Book 1, just a test file, but it didn't show up in his folder of Excel files. I figured we just needed to change the default save location, and that's when I realized Microsoft had pulled a fast one on us. When you install Office from scratch, it defaults to saving your files in OneDrive, even if you don't install OneDrive. This is the last thing Ken and Merle want. It was surprisingly difficult to figure out where and how to change it back to saving on the Mac. Unless I just missed it, there doesn't appear to be a setting or preference to change the behavior. I finally figured out that if you open a file and attempt to save it, you'll see under the name field that it says Place and a drop-down that says OneDrive-Personal. Confusingly, there's also a button that says On My Mac, which might make you think it was going to save it on your Mac. but that's actually a button that changes it to saving it on your Mac. If you click it, the entire dialog box changes to a standard macOS Save As dialog box. But now it has a button that says Save to OneDrive, which doesn't make any sense because you can't save to OneDrive when you're in the... Anyway, this is a terrible user interface and a terrible experience. Here's the fun part, though. We had to do it both in Word and Excel to direct both of them away from saving on OneDrive. With a little more sleuthing, we were able to figure out how to move the few files that had already gotten saved to OneDrive and get them back to our Macs. That wasn't easy either. Gee, Microsoft, maybe you could ask people before making the assumption of where they want to save their files to not saving it in the cloud. Anyway, okay, shake it off, shake it off. Now, we were finally finished with the great emergency Mac Mini upgrades of 2023. When I described to Pat Dangler the challenges of cabling the new Macs to the ancient displays, she asked a simple and obvious question. Why didn't we upgrade their displays at the same time? Now, if we'd had more time to think it out and more time to spend deciding on what monitors would be right for them, we probably would have done that. Replacing their 22-inch displays, or I think Ken's is 24, but Merlee's is 22, that wouldn't have been very expensive, but it was just one more layer of complexity to add to what was already an incredibly stressful day. We planted the seed with Merlee that she might really find value in a newer, higher resolution display, and she seemed open to the discussion for next time. Ken wasn't as excited about the idea, and we realized later after we got home, we were able to get the model number from him, and his display is a bit newer, and the text is crisper because it's actually much higher resolution. Now, the bottom line is we were amazed that we could pull this off in such a short amount of time. So we're really kind of bragging here that we did this. In 5.5 hours, we went from deciding to buy new computers to nearly complete installations with all data and applications transferred. I think that's pretty miraculous. We were gratified when Merlee exclaimed about how incredibly fast her new Mac is. She said, "I just touched something and it opens instantly." We were also gratified when the day after we got back, Ken sent a note telling us that his success rate with Touch ID had gone way up when he figured out to make sure he laid his fingertip flat on that sensor. Personally, I appreciate their faith in us. Ken and Merlee both often say they don't know how other elderly people who don't have kids with our knowledge level even use a computer. All right, I've got one more thing, if you'll forgive the phrase, on this story. We brought the elderly Mac Minis home with us to clean up and sell back to Apple. Turns out they'll give us $165 each for them, which was more than I expected. A few days after we got back, Ken called Steve asking for some help getting his browser to look like it did before with the right homepage. I thought it might be helpful if I brought Ken's Mac up at our house so we could take a look at what he was hoping to see. Luckily, we have a 27-inch Apple Cinema display that has mini DisplayPort on it, so it was a breeze to plug in this old machine at our house. Those cinema displays, man, they are workhorses. Their Apple displays just last forever. Anyway, remember that the first reason we wanted to upgrade the Mac Minis was that they couldn't run the current operating system, so they would soon be 2 OSs behind, but still supported. The bigger reason was because I told you they had 5,400 RPM spinning hard drives, and I figured 9 years of that spinning was long enough. However, when I booted up Ken's machine at our house, for some reason I thought to double-check the system configuration, and discovered under the storage tab that his Mac had a 1 terabyte SSD. Turns out Merlee's does too. Okay, so remember I said I'd looked at Mac Tracker when I saw the age of the Macs, not system information? I told you it was Mac Tracker. Well, Mac Tracker is not wrong, but it says, the little field says the late 2014 Mac Mini storage is 500 gigabytes or a 1 terabyte 5,400 RPM hard drive. I stopped reading right there. The rest of the line says configurable up to 256, 512 gigabyte, or 1 terabyte flash storage. I couldn't believe it. Now, it's wonderful that Merlee really appreciates how fast the new machines are, and it's wonderful that Ken has Touch ID on his keyboard to help him enter his complex passwords, and it's wonderful that they're running the very latest operating system, but I never would have done the upgrade in such a rush as we did that day if I'd realized they had SSDs. Okay, I gotta do that sentence one more time. Can't have the punchline. But I never would have done the upgrade in such a rush as we did that day if I'd realized they had SSDs. Feels good to know we pulled this upgrade off in such a short amount of time, but holy cannoli was that hard. All right, there we go. I know, Ian, isn't that great?
Yeah, both of them.
It's like, really?
And so we did the trade-in thing. We haven't done it, but we looked online to see how much. What, 165 a piece for those
Yeah.
9-year-old Mac
Well,
Minis?
apparently it's because of the, because they've got one terabyte SSD.
Yeah, 1 terabyte. You could probably.
They're
that's
probably
worth
going to
something.
salvage the SSDs for all we know, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm at 33 minutes, and it's time. Oh. Oh my gosh, I'm at 33 minutes already?
Yes. I thought you already did a calculation on this one.
Yeah, but it always takes longer than I think.
Ah.
No, we're going to do it. Okay. This is going to be a long show,
Really long shoe.
but I need to do both of these.
Yeah, the 27 minutes, Kevin, was for security bits. We'll get to that. Oh, by the way, I edited the Excel.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I took out the.
Yeah, I saw
It
that.
sounded a little bit like, the Tremors, Martha.
Okay, this is good. This is.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, Ian.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I mean, if anybody wants to buy them off us, pay shipping.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That hard.
We're not hearing playback.
It
We
was
heard
that
you.
hard.
When Alison reviewed Retro Batch, it seemed like just what I needed for my sticker workflow for our iOS app PT Sticker Shop, so I downloaded it.
Okay, I do need to introduce him. Graham Shepard joins us next for a little review. This is going to be the Retro Batch week. A little review.
When Alison reviewed Retro Batch, it
I love his voice. All right, go to the end of that. Oh, yeah, this is going to be long because I'm going to talk again after this. All right.
if I could think of one.
Okay. And then I'm going to do a chapter mark. Stephen can bring them to you. Anybody need a 9-year-old Mac Mini? Did we get any buyers, Steve? Oh, did Steve leave us?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right, back up here. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Thanks so much for that, Graham. That was really interesting, and I love that you were able to immediately get such value about from RetroBatch just right after learning it from my my review from it last week. Well, I've got even more on RetroBatch here. You've heard me recommend it, and now you've heard Graham recommend it. If you'd like to really learn how to use the tool in detail, Screencast Online has just published my latest tutorial about, you guessed it, RetroBatch. I start from the very beginning and I go step by step, building up a few scenarios, and I explain the interface along the way. I'm very pleased with how the tutorial came out, mostly as a credit to the developer Gus Mueller for making such a cool product. I put a teaser video in the show notes, and if you're interested in the product after looking at that, or you're interested in watching the video tutorial, go to screencastonline.com, link in the show notes, of course, and start a free 7-day trial to get this tutorial and all of the modern back catalog. It is really a terrific learning source. Terrific learning resource. And all of the modern back catalog. It's really a terrific learning resource. Okay. All right, we are getting there, kids.
One more to go.
I think I'm just going to
Security bits?
spam you and then
Oh, right.
security bits. Okay. Oh, I should change this link. Dang it, hang on. PayPal. We're going to do PayPal this week. Oops. Oh, yeah. Okay, so support the show. And grab this link, copy link. All right, this will be very short. Well, I'd like to give special thanks to Christoph Trusch for his quarterly donation through PayPal to support the work we do here at the Podfeet Podcast. He goes to podfeet.com/PayPal and he chooses an amount that's right for him that demonstrates the value he gets out of the shows. If you'd rather do that than a pledge through Patreon, I take donations any way that's right for you. Thanks again, Christoph, for your continued support. How's that? That's like a 5-second ad. All right, Security Bits music. Hope I've got it.
Short and sweet.
If I don't, nope, I do not have it. Okay, I gotta go find it. Okay, this is gonna take a second. I am doing this all from my MacBook Air, by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
So that does
With-
tell you that we don't need MacBook Pro, Steve.
Hey, I don't know if I like those words. Now you have been silencing, but I'm not sure that's the MacBook Air as much as maybe the 4-port, or it's a USB issue, right? Probably. There's Mike's donation. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, not that one. This one. There it is. All right. Get rid of this one. Come on. Okay. So, if okay, that's fine. Port. Okay. All right. I'm back on target. Back on target. What is that from? Is that Ricky? No. What is that?
Star Wars. Stay on target.
Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, now we need to remember how many minutes did I say?
27
minutes in. Okay, so 27 minutes in from here.
Boy, that dog's donating a lot. Just keeps giving and giving.
All right. So 27. Okay, let me line them up first. And this. Oof, let's see. Those up like that. Right there. Get rid of Bart on me. And get rid of me on Bart. And then I'm going to pull him straight up. Get rid of the wrong one. Yeah, got rid of the wrong one.
Wait, you got rid of Plink?
Oh, I did. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm a little stressed. You need me to undo it and hear it?
I just won't be the same tonight.
They do have fusion drives, Ian. That's a good guess. But this is not was not a fusion drive.
Yeah,
It's
these were full up
plain old
SSDs.
SSD. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bruce Schatz. How you doing today, Bart?
Did we hear the timing?
Apart from the fact that I'm...
No, I'm still lining them up, Steve.
Got it.
That looks like I'm way off. Bart.
apart from the fact that I'm melting...
Well, we've been just sitting under a cloud since...
we've
been... What's wrong?
No, just keep playing. I see something ahead of us that looks off.
I don't understand what that means.
The next Bart and you,
Yeah,
the gaps don't line up.
Just
But-
okay.
Go ahead.
In California.
Oh no. What? Does that mean it's greener?
Yeah, it's greener. We got grass.
I think you need to delay.
You're
Bart a
cranky.
little.
Yeah, it does look like it. You're cranky.
Well, hopefully summer kicks in soon.
Exactly. All right, what have we got going on this week? Talking over.
They actually
Oh,
put out a
oh.
press release on.
Okay, well, now I've got to go back and get all this. And no, it's just this. Split this. I can go back and work on it more if you want me to spend the time, Steve. But
Nope.
I also have to get the I get this timing, and then I got to go find the 27 minutes. Well, it's that
Oop,
time of the week
Just
again.
went Cylon. Want to flip your switch?
Okay,
Better?
good. Glad I found an easier way to do it than unplugging. All right, here's the connection. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart. Oh, wait a minute. I was going to check the time. Okay, so we are starting at 41 minutes and 14 seconds.
Oh, if you
Now-
just had a tool.
If I just had a tool, when we get the ability to make site-specific browsers apps, we're going to be able to. Everybody's going to be able to use my tool straight from the Finder. 14,
Cool.
and I said it was 27 minutes. Oh, it's got to be negative 27, right? No, 27. Okay, that's 1 hour and 8 minutes, which is 68 minutes. Okay. Minus. No, more minus. Come on. Sorry, shrinking it down. Did I say 68? Come on, Dodger. Come on.
Michael may have a good point here. Oh, finish your thing.
Patched. Now it's
In
actively
iOS 15, you're
exploited.
saying?
Yes, iOS 15.
Okay.
Now, and it appears to be what is at the level actors at the moment, and it appears to be what poop, but the kernel of truth there is patched.
Okay.
So
I'm not
you'll
hearing
know
Josh.
whether or not you're infected by this because
Oh, there he is.
There.
Here, let's listen just to.
Listen up,
Ready?
Lindsay.
Ready?
There's Dodger. That's the
That's
Dodger
not
we know
bad.
and love.
That's not bad. But he was very excited. Everybody was gone, and they'd all come home.
Yeah.
bug. So
I think you talked about it the last time we talked. Yeah, okay. I think I'm okay.
Windows that allows
Yeah. All right. Let me shrink this down. And I think I still have to fix the show notes afterwards. No, Lindsay. He's been really good. He was barely broken on this whole trip. All right, here we go. Okay, closing us out here. Get ready to do a chapter mark, chapter count. Here we go. Well, that is going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeet.com anytime you like? If you have a question or suggestion, just send it on over. I know I have a question in my inbox that I have not answered, but it's because I don't know the answer yet. So I will get back to you, I promise. Anyway, you can follow me on social media on Mastodon at Podfeet at chaos.social. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. If you want to join the fun and the conversation, you can join our Slack community at podfeet.com/Slack, where you can talk to me and all of the other lovely NosillaCastaways. You can support the show by going to podfeet.com/Patreon or with a one-time donation like Christoph at podfeet.com/PayPal. Every dollar helps, people. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, do not come to the live show next week on the 18th because we will not be there. Instead, wait a week and then you can head on over to podfeet.com/live at 5 p.m. Pacific time on the following Sunday night. And if you do that, you can join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
All
There we
right, well done. And it is 5:59.
I
No,
know,
it
I
just
gotta
turned
get
6.
I gotta get my outro music in. Wait, is that right? That doesn't look right. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. I don't think that's the right one.
There's no ducking.
Yeah, that's not the right one. I'm gonna have to go find it like I did the other one. 'Cause I think I have new versions since I did this. So, I can probably let's see. It's time for Did you do your chapter count yet?
Yes, I got 8, but I think you added one that's not reflected in my blog, in the blog post that
Okay.
I'm looking at. What do you
What?
have?
Hi, Sienna. Uh-oh. Hi. You know what? I'm going to duck this. Do you want to talk to here? You talk to them. Whoops.
I got you.
She is very comfortable on the microphone. Okay, you talk to them.
I'm shooting. I don't know.
While I fix this audio.
I think she just introduced the show.
I think she did.
Yeah, you should.
Let's see. That's not what I want to do. I don't know how to duck in this. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay. You know what? I think I should finish the editing with my assistant here helping me. But let me do the chapter count. Do you want to wear the headphones? Okay, hang on. I don't know if that's going to work with your hearing aid, sweetie, but we can give it a try.
Hi, Sienna. Can you hear? Can you see Pip here? Do you hear me, Pip? Do you hear me? Sienna? All right. I'm not sure she hears me.
There. Nod your head if you can hear me. All right, sweetie. All right. Let me do my chapter count here, and I will fix that ducking problem at my leisure here in a minute. Hang on. Oh, are you getting down? Okay. Yeah. Try to pull every cable off the table if you would. Perfect. Thank you. All right. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, that makes sense because I think you added one for Chuck.
I added one for Chuck and one for
Hi, Sienna.
Midwest Mac Barbecue. So you should have 7 and I have 9.
Oh, I got 8. Oh, hold on.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Let me see.
You know what I don't have? I do not have security bits. That's why we do the chapter count.
It worked. Our check
Yeah.
worked.
Come on. Come on.
See, they say hello, Sienna. See that?
Oh my gosh.
It says hello, Sienna.
Okay.
Right there.
Hi,
See
Sienna.
that?
Did you give her? She doesn't have headphones on, right?
No, I can't give her mine.
Oh, right. Those would not work. Okay, so chapter mark and drop that in. Sorry for keeping you late after class. Hello.
I don't see the last. Oh, okay, you're doing it now.
Oh, come on. Copy. Paste. Paste. Tab. Right click. Copy link. That's probably the most important one for people to be able to get to security bits, I think. So, okay. So now I have 10 chapters. You happy with 10, Steve? Because I added 2?
Yeah, because I had 8, so you had +2.
Alrighty. Well, I'm going to let the audience go because it's anarchy here, children coming and going, but I think we should hang up so I can...
I think we should end this broadcast before things get out of hand.
say bye.
Have Sienna wave us off.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, Gracie.
All right, see you in 2 weeks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Team Sienna.
Team
I love
Sienna.
it.
Very
Good
good,
job,
Ian. Thank you. Bye-bye.